Shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, giving infinite praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, B'chakodash, giving double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Shalom, and salutation to all you say Akim, across the four winds, pushing his truth with sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, Kasama God from the DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, B'chakodash, feed the elect. All right, this is going to be a quick one. It's kind of exhortation, but yet just warning. And we're going to go into lawfare. As you know, the biggest news right now in the entire world, it's the fact that on the former president of the United States, also known in the Bible as the virgin daughter of Babylon, Donald Trump basically got convicted on all charges, felony charges, right? I think it was like 34 counts. Of course, we know what's going on with that. The elites are all behind this spectacle, this political theater. But yet, although it's a political theater that has taken place, we must understand the implication that this is going to have with different groups that are deemed to be basically deemed to be, I would say, issue when it comes to national security. All right. Now, in an event that something crazy happened, all right, and in the United States, I mean, we're talking about false flag operations, by the United States government on its own people to blame it on different groups. All right, you have to understand that Esau, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, although he's the devil, well, actually, I'm going to say because he's the devil, right, he doesn't just aggressively make moves on his enemies all willy-nilly. What he first does, he established a law because Esau, the devil, wants to look righteous as he's being wicked, basically. So he established a law, a wicked law, all right, and then he basically frames you according to that law. So when he puts you under the in the gulag, all right, or puts you to death, right, nobody will actually be able to prosecute him or deny the charges because the false charges would be based on the wicked law that he implemented. All right. That's what's called lawfare. All right. It's using laws. And then the fair is kind of like when you say warfare. All right. So without further ado, as you know right there, this is the main story right now. Trump convicted. Donald Trump is found guilty in hush money. And, it's kind of all over the news. Again, a major distraction. Not necessarily worried about Trump, but the thing is you have to understand that politics and religion will always be the two most important things on the planet Earth. All right, because you have wars through politics and beliefs. All right, that's the reason why politics, that's where you set up policies, and then beliefs, that's where you have religions, will always be the two most important things. So you always have to keep your eye on politics and beliefs, because that's where you get into the prophecies and the wars and so on and so forth. All right. But this right here, the implication of this particular situation is more proof as to where the United States stands right now. All right. We heading into some dark times, which the scripture prophesied that, we would be heading into some dark times. And it's not going to, when Esau starts to move on different groups, primarily the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, even more in depth, the leaders, the true leaders, you're talking about the prophets of the Lord. When he starts to move, you have to understand he's going to actually use a lawfare against us. All right. So, you have to be prepared for this. All right. I mean, and this is for the brothers that actually will have to face lawfare, because some brothers will not be arrested. The Lord is going to manage to have them away from, being arrested by Esau and his forces and so on and so forth. Some brothers are going to be, unfortunately, yet fortunately, will be kind of arrested in the shadows and basically dealt with. If you know what I mean. And then you're going to have brothers that are going to get arrested, and they're going to have lawfare waged on them. All right. And then, there's going to be a time where, things are going to get so hectic that Esau will actually discard the laws and just go straight to No court, no court, no lawyers, and no due process, and he just gotta go to just execution, a mode basically. All right, so it's some dark times coming ahead. Now, what is lawfare? Lawfare is the use of legal systems and institutions to damage or delegitimize, if I'm saying it right, delegitimize an opponent. All right, or to deter an individual's usage of their legal rights. All right. So you got to delegitimize an opponent. All right. Make him irrelevant. Destroy his assassination of character. Right. And once you assassinate the person's character, what tends to happen is then people's emotions are basically discarded, and they are basically will be open to your execution, right? Because a lot of times when it comes to putting people to death, the system has to make sure that all the proper emotions are poured in their favor, so they can kill you basically, so they can murder you. But if they don't not able to do that legally and to bring forth emotions, then it would be looked at as a crime, all right, a legal crime. And Esau, the devil, doesn't want to be looked at as somebody who is the devil. He wants to be looked at as a somebody who establishes justice according to the law. All right, and he'll tell you no man is above the law. But what if the law that you set up is a wicked law? All right, to frame mischief. All right, and to go to war against your enemies. All right, and we know this is going to be used against us primarily. All right, all this political theater that's going on is really not about anybody else but the election, the 1/3, and 144. All right, it really comes down to it. Whether you want to believe it or not, I don't really care what you think. It's just through the spirit. The scriptures tells you everything revolves around the election. And all right, Esau just can't outright just say, well, I'm doing all of this because my target is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans out in the streets with garments, because they'll be like, well, why are you taking those guys seriously? He's not going to say that. All right. It says warfare. It says the term may refer to the use of legal systems and principles against an enemy, such as by damaging or delegitimizing them, wasting their time and money, right? E.g., strategic lawsuits against public participants or winning a public relations victory. Alternatively, it may describe a tactic used by repressive regimes, which that's exactly where the United States is in 2024. You can pretty much tell, like, this is repressive regime. I mean, the freedom of speech is a thing of the past. You still get freedom of speech partially, but for the most part, it's becoming a thing of the past, right? This is not your old United States of America. This is a brand new world, all right? It's a brand new world, and Babylon the Great is showing its fangs primarily towards the nation of Israel, but then also against everybody else that tries to stand against the will of the Rothschilds, the Rockefeller, the elite families. It says to label and discourage civil society or individuals from claiming their legal rights. All right. So it's very important, because when you get if you do happen to be a brother that get hemmed up, if you get even if you're lucky enough to get due process, don't go in there, man, thinking that you're gonna be taking a dub, because the charges that are gonna come down against you are gonna be charges that's gonna make this whole shit show where Trump look like a walk in the park, because we talking about terroristic charges and all kinds of craziness, right? And and mind you, the atmosphere is going to be an atmosphere of a lot of people suffering from losses of family members due to false flag operations by the United States government on its own people, and they're going to blame it. I mean, so don't go into that's why, and the scripture speaks about that, man. You cannot rely on Esau's laws on those days, you're really gonna only be able to rely on Yahweh by Shemal Shah, right? It's in Psalms 94:20. It says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee?" Right? The throne of iniquity is Edom, Esau, Esau's government, the so-called white man's government. The man of iniquity. All right, so he's not gonna have fellowship with you. Like, you can go and get a lawyer and so on and so. Now, right now, because the atmosphere is not quite there yet, although with this conviction is setting a precedent for things to come. But right now you can go to court. You get your lawyer, and you can win a case. But we going into times where that's not going to work. You're not gonna get in there with your lawyer and all that and win. You're gonna take a major L, because that's just how this game is going. All right, this when I say game, this movie is going. Esau's not gonna play fair. The devil doesn't play fair. All right, and I'm gonna show you examples of even Yahweh Shai knowing that the game was the game, because it's kind of like the movie game, was rigged. Like, that's why he was just like, man, what the hell with all this? I'm not playing y'all game, man. I know what's about to go down. Psalms 94:20, it says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law?" All right, that's called lawfare. That's waging war using the laws. And when a person says no man is above the law, but then you see certain people are clearly above the law. You got the Hillary Clintons of the world, well known, mass murderers, all types of war crimes. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter. But the righteous man, you get up there, they're gonna bury you. You trying to play their game in their court system in the atmosphere of so-called terrorist attacks and false flag operations. You trying to play that game of due process. You gonna be wasting your time. All right. Verse 21, they gathered themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. All right. So they're going to condemn you with the law. They're going to condemn you with the law, their laws. All right. Against the innocent soul, which is the elect Israelite. All right. Now let's go quickly to Mark. This is Mark 14. All right. And 55. This is Yahweh Shai in a court with the high priest. And they were using the whole time, they were using lawfare, right? Oh, well, you blaspheming the whole, they were calling Yahweh Shai a blasphemer. They were coming at him with the law, right? Doing lawfare on Yahweh Shai. All right. And Pontus even said, man, listen, I don't see what he did wrong, but they're like, well, you ain't no, they basically said, man, you're not a Jew, bro. Like, we handle this matter according to our laws, and he's guilty. Meaning we wage lawfare on Yahweh Shai. He's guilty. You damn cracker, just hang him. Just crucify him, all right? You ain't got to get deep into the law. We've already done the deed. Just crucify him, basically. This is Mark 14 and 55. It says, inside the leading priest and the entire high council were trying to find evidence against Yahweh Shai, so they could put him to death, but they couldn't find any. Many false witnesses spoke against him, but they contradicted each other. All right, so they hired false witnesses. Shit didn't really work out. Well, same thing. You looked at Trump thing. They had Cohen and this other porn star chick, and and then they said, well, a lot of things that they were saying were contradicting. It still didn't matter because it's all rigged. When she go in there and it's that time, you're going to take an L, man. And that's something, again, I thought about that. I was like, man, you look at the bigger picture, the implication, and it's what we've always thought, that, hey, man, when that time comes, you know what I'm saying, don't be, if you even lucky to get due process, just know, man, you're going to take an L in there, man. That's just how I go. But then the Lord would deliver you in a magnificent way on the back end. You know what I'm saying? You might have to be in the you might have to, be in the gulag for a little bit, man. Don't think that you're about to go in court with all types of terrorist charges while all hell is breaking loose and shit is blowing up everywhere and shit. And then you get out of there with a dub with your lawyer, shaking your lawyer's hand. Nah, bro, it's going to be a different time. It's going to be a different time. That courtroom ain't going to look like the courtroom that you see right now, with a regular average Negro just sitting there with a speeding ticket, waiting for his trial and the baby mama shit going on. Like, nah, man. All right, this is verse 57. It says, finally, yeah, you gonna have people with big guns in the courtroom. You're gonna have military, you're gonna have guard, a national guard with big effing guns, military grade weapons in the courtroom, outside of the courtroom, tanks and Humvees. The outcome is gonna be determined the minute you go in there, man. You got to understand what this is all about and how this thing is gonna come down. Verse 57, finally some men stood and gave this false testimony. We heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with human hands. And which basically that's a terroristic threat. You know what I'm saying? So if you say you're going to terrorize the temple of the Lord, well, anybody that wants to destroy the temple of the Lord has to be put to death, basically, right? But you see how they're flipping the law, and they're flipping what Yahushua is saying to flip that back on them, right? It says, we heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with human hands, and in 3 days I will build another made without human hands. But even then, they didn't get their story straight. I like how the New Living Translation says it. But even then, they didn't get their story straight, right? It says, then the high priest stood up before the others and asked Yahushua, well, aren't you going to answer these charges? What do you have to say for yourself? But Yahushua was silent and made no reply. Then the high priest asked him, are you the Messiah, the son of the Blessed One? Yahushua said, I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated in the place of the power of the Most High's right hand and coming out of the clouds of heaven. So the first time Yahushua was silent, he was like, man, this shit is rigged. This shit is rigged. I'm not going to be, I'm not getting out of here, basically. And it's going to be a similar mindset where it's like, man, you have to be aware that this is what's getting ready to go down for certain brothers, the ones who are going to have to deal with, lawfare, basically. All right, the ones that will get apprehended, for preaching the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, it's just the reality of the condition of the battle. Matthew 10:19, it says, when you are arrested, right? Because, like I said, you're not going to be getting out of there with your hand up, screaming victory, shaking your lawyer's hand, your lawyer's hand, and hugging up brothers and all that. Nah, man, it's gonna be full blown martial law, and none of the brothers gonna be around you because brothers gonna be scattered. It's gonna be military Humvees, big guns, all kinds of madness, man. So yeah, it says, when you are arrested, don't worry about how to respond or what to say. The Most High will give you the right words at the right time. That's why we ain't got to worry about the script we're going to have and all that, man, because it's all rigged, man. It's just going to be rigged. All right. It says, for it is not you who will be speaking. It will be the spirit of your Father speaking through you. So at that moment, the Lord going to put the spirit on us to either be quiet or to say whatever we need to say, as and it's probably going to be as minimal as possible, because as you know, the more you say, the more you're going to get trapped in the devil's court. So, we just got to be like, hey, man, we just going to trust the Lord. All right. So now let's conclude with Revelation 2:10. It says, do not, and it's an NLT, don't be afraid of what you are about to suffer. The devil will throw some of you into prison to test you. You will suffer for 10 days. All right, 10 days meaning the relative time that the Lord is going to have you in the gulag, basically. But if you remain faithful, even when facing death, because, hey, man, some brothers going to get the death penalty, man, but they're actually not going to die. All right, they're going to be the gulag and be like, well, yeah, we're going to get his head chopped off, in about a week's time. Yeah, we're going to get him out of here. So you sitting there in the gulag just like, shit. Yeah, it is what it is, But then the angel break you out of jail, man. The angels are jailbreakers, man. They can break you out of jail. You know what I'm saying? They're going to break a whole bunch of brothers out of jail, man. But then, you got brothers that's going to have to face the blade. It is what it is, right? We knew that when we signed up. That's the price for greatness. You got to be ready if you have to lay down your life. for Hamashiach Yahushua, for Yahweh Shemashah's namesake. It says, but if you remain faithful, even when facing death, I will give you the crown of life. All right. So, and that's ultimately what we have to believe in. And I wanted just to put that out there, man. Just get your mind right, your spirit right, for the upcoming trials and tribulations that's coming down the pike. All right. So with that, I'm going to say, Call Halal Yahweh Bashim El Shah, Bashim Hakodash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Shalom and salutation. To all you say, Akim, faithful brothers across the four winds, pursue the truth with sincerity of heart, because I'm God from the DC camp. Shalom.